After completing his journey, Toriko decided to return home, only to discover that his house was made of candy and had been completely cleaned out by wild beasts in the desert forest. Upon smelling Toriko's scent, his wolf partner, Terry, immediately ran out, wagging its tail to greet its owner. While at home, Terry had managed to tame another companion, a two-headed mutant crocodile. Feeling hungry, the trio, consisting of one human and two animals, sought something to eat. Terry caught a wild pig, and its meat tasted as delicious as emperor crab meat. After the meal, Toriko had to find materials to build a new home. However, the forest was filled with candy and various sweets, so he could only construct a candy house. Beneath the water, there was no fresh water, instead, it was all soda. The fish were made of jelly, and the coral at the bottom of the pond, although vibrant in color, was actually soft and tasted like gummy candy. Toriko found a suitable plot of land to build his house, with an underground chocolate stream to ensure they would never go hungry. Toriko invited a famous architect to design his candy house using a variety of candy ingredients. "Just build a small mansion for me, about a dozen floors," Toriko requested. A few days later, Toriko's new home was completed, and everyone came to congratulate him on his new abode. Rin, on the other hand, lost all her reservations, believing that Toriko was building a happy home for the two of them. Terry, in his own way, expressed his boredom and disinterest. Toriko revealed to his friends that the architect of his mansion was the renowned Mike, who had also designed the gourmet tower they had visited earlier. Mike's craftsmanship left nothing to be desired. The extremely luxurious mansion had an aristocratic style, and all kitchen utensils were made of candy. When hungry, one could eat directly without the need to cook rice. Turning the tap would release a stream of hot milk, the sofa chairs were made of cotton candy, and the curtains were replaced with edible seaweed, which tasted delicious. The walls of the house were made of candy, and the bathwater was sweet and carbonated, allowing for simultaneous bathing and drinking. Finally, the bedroom was made of donuts, making even slim individuals likely to become pleasantly plump in the final stage of their stay in this extraordinary home. The starving young people decided to gnaw on the walls instead of bothering to cook rice, which enraged the architect. Though he was upset that the house he had worked so hard to build was being eaten by everyone, the praise and joy from everyone made Mike burst into a genuine smile. Thanks to this, he remembered the laughter that he had forgotten during the challenging 5 months. Tina arrived with the desire to report on Toriko's new house, only to find that it had been entirely consumed by everyone. A little sad, she urged Mike to quickly return to prepare the stage for the decisive battle of the Gourmet King. Knowing that all the delicious ingredients would gather there, Toriko decided to go with his friends. At this moment, Tina began introducing the main sponsor, a young boy named Fall. Although he was still young, Fall managed a chain of French-style restaurants worldwide. He declared that the winner of the Gourmet King competition would receive a prize of 1 billion. Fall revealed that his pet was a level 34 dinosaur named Chris, an extremely rare and precious creature. Fall organized the Gourmet King competition because Chris had recently refused to eat anything, and he didn't understand the reason. Therefore, Fall wanted the Gourmet Hunters present to prepare food for Chris. If Chris agreed to eat someone's dish, that person would have a chance to win the 1 billion prize. Toriko quickly realized that the dinosaur had been starving for a long time and needed to be nourished as soon as possible. Otherwise, its body would weaken. All 3 heavenly kings came up with a dish to serve Chris. However, their choices were completely different. In the end, because they couldn't find common ground, the 3 heavenly kings decided to split up and each search for food separately. Toriko and Komatsu took a plane to a remote island to find a plant called Granberry, which had a shape resembling a dragon twisting around. After landing on the island, which looked like a giant hamburger, everyone quickly entered the forest to search for cooking ingredients. While chasing a spice butterfly, Komatsu got entangled in a vine and stumbled. Upon closer observation, Toriko realized that this wasn't an ordinary vine but the roots of a sweet potato plant, a grade 7 grain. Sweet potatoes from this plant tasted like regular potatoes but sweeter, hence the name sweet potatoes. In the sunny ocean, Sunny was using its sensor threads to hunt prey and quickly caught a grade 21 milk whale. Coco, on the other hand, rode on a flying bird to find honey dragonflies that nested on 9 layers of clouds. Honey dragonflies were grade 28 insects, extremely fierce. However, their honey was delicious and the ingredient Coco wanted to obtain. At the dinosaur banquet hall, Chris still refused to eat anything, so Fall was very worried about its health. At this moment, Zong appeared in a princess dress. It turned out that the old man had watched a movie where dragons liked to kidnap princesses, so he wanted to try this method. Unexpectedly, Chris ate Zong's flesh, but luckily it was a bit tough, so it spat him out, saving the old man's life. It was a close call, and he could have died for real if it weren't for that. On this side, Toriko had found the Granberry tree, but it was being guarded by an extremely fierce giant monster, a grade 32 shark turtle. Komatsu quickly found a hiding place for Toriko to confront the shark turtle. It could dive deep underground, had incredible speed, and a very sturdy defensive shell. Facing an all-round formidable beast like this posed many challenges for Toriko. Meanwhile, elsewhere, after Coco tricked the honey dragonflies into diving headfirst into the sea, he successfully obtained honey from their nest. This honey had the best flavor in the world. Back at the banquet hall, because the dinosaur refused to eat anything, the audience below enjoyed a satisfying meal. They brought in a variety of exquisite dishes, but Chris still complained. Fall revealed that he had found Chris when they were both young in the forest, and since then, they had become best friends, making him no longer feel lonely. Returning to the battle between Toriko and the shark turtle, with Terry's assistance, Toriko successfully overturned the turtle's shell, rendering it immobile. After hearing Toriko's explanation, the shark turtle realized that Toriko only wanted cooking ingredients and meant no harm. It scolded him and then left. At this moment, Sunny brought whale milk to the banquet hall for the dinosaur to taste, but it seemed the dish didn't suit its palate. Coco brought a jar of honey from dragon bees. The most delicious honey in the world, but the dinosaur only sniffed it and didn't eat. Finally, Toriko presented the cranberry, a favorite food of natural lizards, but the dinosaur still rejected it. Komatsu suddenly noticed that even though the dinosaur wasn't eating, it was still paying attention to the ingredients brought by the three of them. So, Komatsu asked Toriko, Coco, and Sunny for permission to prepare a dish combining the three different ingredients they had brought back. The three agreed. Komatsu immediately got to work, and in no time, he made an ice cream from cranberry, whale milk, and honey from dragon bees. It turned out that Komatsu had observed that the dinosaur loved ice cream. When its owner fed it the ice cream, it devoured it immediately. The ice cream, made from three high-quality ingredients, with the sweetness of honey, the richness of whale milk, and the fruity aroma of cranberry, blended perfectly to create a perfect dessert. After eating Komatsu's ice cream, the dinosaur evolved and grew a pair of wings, an extremely rare sight that few people had witnessed. Fall hugged Chris, saying goodbye to his dear friend. When a dinosaur grows wings and matures, it must leave the ground to find a suitable habitat. According to legend, when a dinosaur reaches adulthood, an apple will sprout to prove its maturity. This apple is a farewell gift that Chris wants to give to everyone. The apple is a combination of three types of fruits, apple, pear, and mango, creating an indescribably sweet taste. The next day, Toriko went to Komatsu's restaurant to eat the dish of the century. Everyone had a silly smile on their faces. The restaurant also served other delicious dishes, such as sautéed scallops, butter-fried tube noodles, and goose liver. Komatsu gave Toriko 2 bottles of excellent wine, the most beloved type in the restaurant. Toriko swiftly brought the bottle to his mouth and finished it in one go. He then took the remaining bottle to give it to a friend, whom he often called Old Man as a nickname. However, this friend's true identity was President Aichiru of the IGO organization. The old man had a hobby of acting cool and skillfully handling the faulty bottle cap. After that, he wanted to showcase his drinking capacity, but the wine was too strong, and he ended up getting drunk and passing out. Just when he intended to show off a bit to his son to save face, a fish from the lake below splashed water on his face, mocking him intensely. Well, that's a bit embarrassing for sure. Forget it. The old man's profile was quite impressive. He was the first disciple of the legendary Gourmet Hunter who discovered the god ingredient. Now, the butler brought a plate of mixed cheeses, a bit spicy due to several failed attempts. The old man ate all the cheese, leaving none for his son. After finishing, he invited Toriko to exchange a few moves. Despite being old, the old man still possesses a six-pack that makes the lady swoon. He also innovatively created the technique of fluttering his lip edges, with not much damage but an extremely strong humiliation factor. As the battle began, Toriko unleashed his extraordinary flying knife technique, but the old man effortlessly disrupted the move with a single breath. Following that, he used the flying fork technique to launch a long-range attack. This was one of his strongest moves, yet the old man easily blocked it with just one hand. Moreover, the old man stood still, allowing Toriko to attack. However, Toriko's nail punch was like hitting an egg with a rock. Frustrated, Toriko resorted to using the strength of his legs, delivering a powerful kick that formed a ground-cutting sword. However, the old man effortlessly caught it with his bare hand. Despite Toriko's attempts, he couldn't defeat the old man. In the end, with a gentle punch to the face, Toriko was sent flying several meters away. "You're still weak, my boy. You need to train diligently," said the old man. Before they bid farewell, the old man asked Toriko to gather a type of plant that grows on clouds, called ozone grass. In the evening, Toriko invited Komatsu to a barbecue, marinating the beef with rich spices for a delicious taste. The restaurant is renowned for its incredibly tasty grilled beef, which is tender and sweet without being tough. The accompanying vegetables are diverse, and eating grilled meat with lettuce helps balance the richness, preventing it from becoming too overwhelming. The best way to enjoy beef is when it's still slightly rare, preserving the original sweetness of the meat, though it still can't compare to the Galala crocodile meat in century soup. After the meal, Toriko invited Komatsu to join him in the search for ozone grass. Rumor has it that this plant grows on the 9th layer of clouds in a place known as the Paradise Vegetable Garden. Ozone grass is considered the king of vegetables due to its pure and magical flavor, resembling something from paradise. The next day, the two set off, with funding from the old man. Soon, they spotted a gigantic vine. If they climbed to the top, they believed they would find ozone grass. As they ascended, Komatsu encountered a peculiar flock of birds. Despite their fierce and ugly appearance, these birds were surprisingly gentle. If humans didn't pose a threat, the birds wouldn't attack. As the altitude increased, the temperature dropped, requiring the duo to eat well to maintain energy. In the afternoon, they encountered a four-winged bird, worried that the bird might be feeling cold. Toriko lit a fire to warm it up. He truly showed kindness in that moment. The next day, they continued their journey, facing the challenge of the dry high-altitude climate. Constant water intake was necessary to avoid dehydration, and chocolate became the ideal food since the thin air reduced digestive efficiency, requiring food with minimal mass but high energy content. By evening, the two had climbed a distance of 3,000 meters. Komatsu experienced a headache due to the high-altitude shock, a reaction of the brain when the body rapidly adapts to the surrounding environment. The temperature, pressure, and oxygen levels here were significantly lower than at ground level. Moreover, as they ascended, not only the monsters but even the plants became extremely dangerous. The next morning, they encountered a crazed bean sprout of level 46, which tightly entwined Toriko with its vines. To escape, he had to cut the vines. Luckily, Toriko's protective suit had wings, and the physics laws in the anime were as illogical as in Indian movies, so he succeeded in swimming to the shore. At this moment, the sky suddenly darkened, revealing the formation of a storm above them. Hidden within were extremely dangerous cumulonimbus clouds. The storm's winds were powerful, even blowing a fully grown level 30 gorilla into the sky. Toriko found an oxygen plant leaf to craft an oxygen mask, as Komatsu had weaker stamina. Since there was only one mask, Toriko handed it over to Komatsu. After that, Toriko carried Komatsu through the storm center. The cold air froze Toriko's face, and he had to cautiously move step by step. Facing a storm at this altitude, humans couldn't breathe normally. Fortunately, Toriko's physique exceeded that of an average person. Along the way, he had to dodge ice blocks formed from rainwater and cold air. Seeing Toriko exhausted, Komatsu offered to give up the only oxygen mask, but Toriko refused. He believed Komatsu needed it more, while he had learned a breathing technique to exhale only CO2 and retain oxygen in his lungs. He used this method to regulate his body until he recovered, coinciding with the passing of the storm. Finally, after much effort, Toriko and Komatsu successfully climbed to the top of the giant vine and found the legendary vegetable garden. The clouds here could bear the weight of the two, and exposure to stormy winds and the dry, cold climate for a long time had wrinkled Komatsu's face, making him look like an old man. Toriko discovered below the clouds an active volcano whose solidified ash formed a cloud. Plants thrived here due to minerals from the ash, undergoing photosynthesis and producing oxygen, allowing humans to breathe without using oxygen masks. Shortly after, they entered the Paradise Vegetable Garden, where the air was filled with a fresh, vibrant aroma. Toriko pulled out a radish and found it much tastier than those grown on the ground. Komatsu took a bite of a cucumber, making his skin smooth and elastic. Cucumbers had beauty-enhancing properties and were popular for their size. The garden also grew a special pumpkin that tasted like gummy candy when eaten. Venturing deeper, they discovered a pond with naturally fried potato slices. Whenever they spotted something delicious, they paused to eat until they felt full. However, due to overeating, they soon experienced stomachaches and had to run for relief. Suddenly, Toriko noticed a footprint, arousing suspicion about what kind of creature could survive at such altitudes. Setting aside this mystery, Toriko and Komatsu eventually found the ozone grass, the king of vegetables. The outer layers of leaves served as protection, while the actual ozone grass was hidden deep within. Toriko immediately peeled off a leaf to examine it, but then the entire plant unexpectedly shrank and reverted to its seed-like form. It seemed that harvesting ozone grass required the correct approach. Any mistakes during harvesting that made the ozone grass feel threatened would cause it to transform back into a seed to protect itself. After a while, the two found a forest of ozone grass and began researching methods to open it. However, no matter how careful and gentle they were, peeling off a leaf still agitated the plant, causing it to shrink back into a seed. By chance, Komatsu discovered that if he and Toriko peeled two leaves simultaneously, the ozone grass did not react. After damaging hundreds of plants, The two finally succeeded in obtaining intact ozone grass. Only the last layer of leaves remained, and they carefully peeled them off simultaneously. Inside was a sprout of ozone grass, still fresh and vibrant. It was the most vibrant plant they had ever seen, emitting a pure fragrance that made Toriko's mouth water. Unable to resist, Toriko decided to eat it right away. Surprisingly, after taking a bite, the ozone grass quickly became inedible. It turned out that to enjoy this vegetable, one had to eat 2 pieces at the same time. Although a bit challenging to consume, ozone grass had the sweetness of various fruits and contained immense energy. After eating a piece, Toriko's body was filled with vitality, living up to its reputation as the king of vegetables. The flavor not only satisfied the taste buds but also enhanced the power of Toriko's gourmet cells. At this moment, a black-colored creature suddenly appeared behind the two. Toriko realized it was the mysterious creature that left footprints, but to his surprise, the creature didn't attack them. Instead, it seemed curious to taste the flavor of ozone grass. After finishing its meal, the creature immediately left. It resembled a humanoid machine, but Toriko could tell it wasn't a machine because he didn't detect the characteristic metal smell. This creature was a wild beast, and why it lived on the 9th cloud layer remained unknown to Toriko. To eat the ozone grass, the creature moved its head at an incredibly fast speed to bite both pieces simultaneously. Toriko speculated that it didn't know how to eat ozone grass before but learned by observing and imitating them. Its intelligence surprised Toriko. Completing the journey, Toriko fulfilled the mission of finding ozone grass for boss Aichiru. In reality, Aichiru's house was not lacking ozone grass, he even used it to make refreshing tea. Aichiru's purpose was not the ozone grass itself but to train Toriko's body while searching for new ingredients to adapt to various environments. Aichiru also revealed that Sunny and Coco were soon to face the body training challenge similar to Toriko's in preparation for the next gourmet event. It was rumored that even the last member of the 4 Heavenly Kings, Zebra, would make an appearance. This news excited everyone. When Toriko shared his encounters with strange creatures with Aichiru, the old man's face changed color, but he remained silent.